man once said, "If you fall on your face, you're still moving forward." And that makes me wonder if he once started the experiment of riding a unicycle too, because in just 10 words, he was able to beautifully summarize my experiences. So my humble beginnings as a unicyclist was actually not in my control. For my 10th birthday, I got this big malformed garbage bag with a bow on it. And I was slightly baffled because it was a big malformed garbage bag with a bow on it. But a bow is a present, and what do you do with a birthday present? Open it. My amazing, loving, protective parents had purchased me a single-wheeled post with a seat and pedals. No brakes, no handlebars, no magnetic self-balancing system. Oh yeah, and no helmet. So naturally, being young and stupid, I was eager to get on this right away. But even for me, this was a little daunting, so I started small, in my living room. And that was basically me on the back of the couch with my unicycle, slowly rolling back and forth, trying to adjust this new state of constant unbalance. To give you some perspective, it's been said that walking is nothing more than controlled falling. If that's true, then unicycling is exactly like controlled falling if you just take out the control part. So anyway, there was a couple roadblocks with this approach to riding, the first being eventual and complete parental disapproval. In other words, after a couple days, my dad kicked me out and told me to go ruin somebody else's new carpet with my tire tracks. That led to my new problem, which was my new situation. I had to abandon this comfortable living room for a cold metal mailbox, a sidewalk with cracks every 3 feet, and sometimes my mom's shoulder and advice. But I couldn't really rely on having support every inch along my path anymore. The other thing with unicycling that I couldn't have ever predicted was that it's apparently a huge public statement. When walking down the street with my unicycle, I generally got two reactions. The first was this sort of quiet, awe-filled gaze from a distance, and even got a couple literal double takes, which were my favorite, because they assumed that since I was holding this crazy thing, that I could actually ride it. The next reaction was much louder, much more in your face, and much more repetitive. I called this one the joke. Nothing was worse than the joke. And I say that because it's the most hackneyed reaction to the unicycle. It is the only comment that one can utter that will make my face flare and my blood boil to such an extreme extent, and that is this. Hey, where's the other wheel, Cupcake? Now, I love Seattle, I really do, but we are a city of bikers. And bikers can be a little bit close-minded in assuming that you need two wheels for this kind of thing, when in fact, the pictures that have been rolling behind me should assure you that that's not always true. But to be fair, that took me a long time to learn too. In fact, all observational data went against this conclusion for quite some time. Probably one of the biggest realizations that I had was that I had to accept whatever unknown result was going to come hurling at my face. So in the beginning, more often than not, that was concrete. I had my mom and that lovely cold metal mailbox, but we were no match for the brutal reality that is gravity. We assume that gravity pulls down everything in, relative equality, but that's not always true. As I learned the hard way, gravity has a shameless affinity for one-wheeled things, and I mean absolutely shameless. But as much as I hate to admit it, I think that gravity was my best teacher. All the falling and all the failing taught me a lot more than the staying upright did. It instilled this trait in me that I call stubbornness, my parents refer to as perseverance, but regardless means that no matter how many times I was knocked on my butt, I had this strange urge to keep getting back up again. And also, it would have been easy for me at any point in time to just give up. This was just me and my unicycle. No one would have come after me if I had never got on it again. But I didn't, and in that way, I think we have a lot more control over failing than we like to admit. Yes, unicycling by nature is a very physically demanding activity, but you can't really do anything balance-wise if your mind doesn't kind of convince you to keep trying. So to sum it up, my path to unicycling glory was in many ways like any other experiment, starting with nothing less than stark failure and slowly building up into some kind of shaky, rolling success. I still remember days where I would come home exhausted, throw my unicycle on the ground and vow never again. But the next day I'd always quietly pick it back up again. And I did that because there were also days where my heart would surge in my chest because I managed to go just one pedal further than I had the day before. To flail just one wild karate chop looking flail less than I had the day before. To come home with one scrape or bruise fewer than I had the day before. And that's when you know you're getting somewhere. That's when you know this embarrassing amount of time you have spent perfecting this useless skill has not gone to waste. And that is what I live for. So what am I? Am I a unicyclist? Sure. Am I an expert in the hidden joys of failure? Absolutely. But what am I really? I'm just simply someone who's embraced this idea that, like gravity, we all have shameless affinities for something. Thank you.